I think one of the weirdest things about modern HR is that we've never been more professionally connected and never more emotionally alone doing the work. We're in webinars, leadership forums, LinkedIn threads, and conference ballrooms constantly surrounded by people. And yet, so many HR leaders quietly feel like no one actually sees the weight of what they're carrying. So, today, I want to talk about community, contribution, and service to others, and why I think the future of our profession may be shaped less by bigger stages and more by being in better rooms. Welcome to Hard at Work with me, Trina Sunday. This space is for HR leaders who care deeply about performance and equally deeply about people. For more than 25 years, I've been asking one persistent question. What are the real conditions for happiness at work? Because when humans come first, something deeper shifts. How people show up, how leaders decide, and how work feels. Here, we explore what it really takes to lead with courage, compassion, and clarity, and we pull up a chair to the conversations HR leaders don't always get to have. There's heart here, but there's also depth. If you're ready to build workplaces where people and performance thrive side by side, you're in the right place. Let's get to the heart of it. I've been thinking a lot lately about what actually sustains us in leadership over the long term. Not what gets us promoted, not what makes us look impressive online, not what gets us invited onto panels discussing the future of work while everybody quietly eats dry banana bread pretending to network. I mean what genuinely sustains us as human beings doing people work. Because if you work in HR, people and culture, organisational development, leadership, or any role where humans are essentially your full-time emotional group project, there's a very good chance you're carrying more than what most people around you realise. We're balancing people and performance, empathy and accountability, culture and commerciality, executive expectations and employee realities, well-being and business pressure, often all before lunchtime, right? And somewhere inside all of that, I think many of us have become professionally disconnected from each other. Not socially, professionally, humanly, which is strange because technically we've never been more connected. We're in Slack channels, Teams meetings, webinars, LinkedIn conversations, WhatsApp group, conferences, networking breakfasts, leadership forums, constantly surrounded by people. And yet many HR leaders I speak with are quietly feeling very isolated doing the work. And honestly, I think it's costing us much more than we realise. And here's the thing I keep coming back to. I genuinely believe that many of us entered this profession because we wanted to help people. Not manage people, help people. We wanted workplaces to feel fairer, safer, more hopeful, more human. Because work impacts almost everything. Our confidence, our mental health, our relationships, our identities, our sense of belonging, sometimes even our sense of purpose. Work follows people home, into our relationships, into our parenting, into our sleep, into our self-worth even. And HR is right in the middle of that, whether we acknowledge it or not. But I think many of us are trying to care deeply inside systems that don't always reward humanity in return. The bureaucracy, the politics, the endless restructures, the pressure to protect brands instead of people, the expectation that we somehow hold everyone else together while quietly burning ourselves to the ground. HR people are honestly incredible at creating psychologically safe spaces for everybody else. Don't listen to the rumors out there. You're incredible. But we're absolutely terrible at admitting when we ourselves are cooked. Some of us are one passive-aggressive exec email away from starting a goat farm in Denmark. And honestly, I think many of us are quietly grieving the kind of work that we hoped this profession would allow us to do. Not loudly, but quietly grieving. And what's fascinating, to me anyway, is that science keeps reinforcing something that many of us instinctively know. Human beings are wired for contribution. Like researchers often talk about something called the helper's high. You've probably seen those people filming themselves on TikTok paying for groceries. Ugh, that's not it. But the helper's high, it's that feeling we experience after we genuinely help someone else. And interestingly, it's not just emotional, right? It's physiological. Acts of generosity and service trigger the release of dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins, all the good stuff. And they are the same chemicals that are associated with trust, calm, well-being, belonging, connection. And so for lots of us, those things help reduce stress. It improves our moods. We have stronger social connections and we feel better about life. Increase longevity even. And honestly, this explains a lot about HR people. Because suddenly my entire profession makes sense. We're essentially a workforce of emotionally overcommitted people accidentally chasing neurochemical rewards through usefulness, just like organizational Labradors. You need help with that? Absolutely. Would I like to take on another emotionally complex workplace issue at 4:47 p.m? Apparently, yes. And the weird thing is, helping generally does make us feel good, not in some fluffy, inspirational quote kind of way, scientifically, because humans are actually wired for contribution. Maybe that's why modern leadership culture feels so strange to me sometimes, because we've built our entire professional identities around being impressive, being productive, visible, being high performing, but not necessarily around being deeply connected. And yet the research on happiness keeps pointing us somewhere far more human, towards contribution, toward connection, toward usefulness. Not performative service, actual human usefulness, helping somebody, supporting somebody, encouraging somebody, making another person's life better, making it lighter. And maybe that's why some of the moments many of us feel most fulfilled aren't actually about us at all. They're the moments where somebody finally feels seen, where somebody gets an opportunity, they feel less alone, somebody grows because we believed in them, or they leave a conversation with us feeling more hopeful than when they came into it. Because at our best, this profession has never just been about policy. It's been about people. And maybe that's the science talking, but honestly, some of the people in my community genuinely are my dopamine. You're dope. The people who challenge me, encourage me, ground me, make me laugh, remind me what matters, and they help me reconnect to the purpose of the work when things get heavy. That's the power of community. And honestly, I think many of us underestimate how much we need each other in this profession. Every athlete has a bench. Every elite sporting team has a bench. Not because they're weak, because nobody sustains high performance alone. And yet many of us are emotionally crossfitting our way through organizational chaos with no real support system behind us. Just vibes and caffeine. We need a bench. And I don't mean superficial networking, collecting LinkedIn connections, people who tell us how amazing we are all the time. I mean real people. People who sharpen our thinking and challenge our blind spots. Tell us the truth. Tell us if we're being assholes. Encourage us, sponsor us, and remind us of who we are and help us hold our perspective when we lose it. Because we spend so much time creating that safety for everyone else that we forget that we deserve that support too, right? And honestly, some of the biggest moments in my career, in our careers, they won't come from the formal programs. They'll come from people. A quiet conversation, a recommendation, a mentor, a sponsor. A person saying, "You're not crazy. You should go for that. You are carrying too much. You don't have to do this alone." That's the stuff that changes us. Not another competency framework in size 11 Calibri font or something. That is not what changes us. You want loyalty? Help a sister before she has to ask. You want somebody to value your leadership? See the potential in a brother before he fully sees it in himself. Sponsor him. Sponsor her, especially her. Speak their names in rooms that they're not in yet. Share opportunities, make the introductions, use your influence intentionally. Because some of the most important leadership moments happen quietly. Not publicly, not performatively, not using a 9-box grid. Quietly. And I sit on a lot of those benches, as a mentor, a sponsor, a cheerleader, a confidant, an ally. And I will never tire of it, because that to me feels like me being of service. And I genuinely think that that's where a lot of happiness lives too. It's not in the status or the titles or looking good online. It's in contribution, connection, and community. One of the reasons I've become so passionate about curating intentional experiences for HR leaders lately is because I think most professional events are designed around content consumption rather than human connection. We sit in rows or at tables, we get talked at, we panic network in the 15-minute tea break while balancing a tiny coffee and stale croissant, trying to remember everyone's name. And some conferences generally feel like professional speed dating for emotionally exhausted adults. Everyone's wearing lanyards, pretending they're thriving. Now look, learning matters. And some of the insights that you can hear from a speaker are really interesting. But information alone rarely changes people. Community does. The conversation after the session, the perspective shift over a drink, the moment somebody says the thing you've privately been carrying for years but never quite had language for yourself. That's the stuff we remember, not slide 63. And honestly, I think the future of our profession may be shaped less by those bigger stages and more by better rooms. Rooms where contribution matters, people participate instead of perform, conversations continue after the session ends, and nobody is pretending they've got it all figured out. Because creativity burns brighter in person, together. It just does. It's hard work. To be honest, that's a huge part of why I created the People Unconference in Perth this July. Not because the world needed another conference. We just had one. God knows HR people have enough opportunities to sit in dimly lit ballrooms pretending they're energized while quietly running on caffeine, survival instincts, and corporate trauma. I want to create a genuinely human room, the kind of room where the conversations feel real, where people participate instead of perform, where smart, thoughtful humans can exhale a bit and stop pretending they've got everything figured out. Because one of the things I've realized over the years is that meaningful community rarely happens by accident. It has to be designed for. The energy in the room matters. The people in the room matter. The way people are invited into conversations matters. And honestly, I think many of us are starving for spaces to feel more honest and generous and connected right now. That's a huge part of the thinking behind the day. Yeah, there'll be thought-provoking conversations and insights from outside HR to help stretch how we think about leadership and culture and work. But there's also going to be creativity and art and gift boxes and sundowners and bubbles and hopefully the kind of conversations that continue long after the formal sessions finish. But the thing I care really deeply about is actually the contribution piece. Because one of the most important parts of the day for me is our not-for-profit challenge, where we will use our collective thinking and experiences and humanity to support real community challenges. And I love that because I think many of us are really looking for opportunities not just to consume ideas, but to contribute something meaningfully back, to be useful, to help, to serve. And the people in my network have so much to offer. And because at our best, that's who many of us are. And honestly, my hope is that people will leave with more than just new insights or pages of notes that they'll never look at again. They'll leave with people. People who challenge them, people who encourage them, people who become sounding boards and collaborators and trusted voices and maybe even part of their bench moving forward. Because this work can be heavy sometimes, and none of us were supposed to carry it alone. So if you're looking for your people, or maybe just a reminder that there are still good humans working alongside you, I would genuinely love you to be in the room with us in Perth on Thursday, the 2nd of July. You can learn more at trinasunday.com/people-unconference. Thanks for listening. Can't wait to have you in the room. Thanks for spending time with me. If this conversation challenged you, clarified something, or simply reminded you that you're not the only one holding the tension between people and performance, then it's done exactly what it was meant to. This work isn't easy, but it is necessary. HR has a new future, and it leads with heart. So if you found value here, subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Share this episode with someone who also believes that work can be better, And if you want to go deeper, you can explore the Heartwork model, the programs, and the growing community of HR leaders at trinasunday.com. Because when HR leads with clarity, courage, and compassion, it doesn't just change workplaces, it changes lives. Until next time, keep asking better questions, keep backing your voice, and keep putting humanity at the center of performance. Let's keep heart at work.